USAA knows dynamic duos can save the day, like superheroes and sidekicks or auto and home insurance. With USAA, you can bundle your auto and home and save up to 10%. Learn more and get a quote at usaa.com/bundle. Restrictions apply.
Whatever the occasion, effortless elegance is right this way. Because Hilton brings you new ways to stay courtesy of the Nomad London. And it doesn't stop at award-winning dining in a space draped in velvet and illuminated by vintage chandeliers. No, this day goes beyond with unparalleled personalized service and attentive hospitality. Oh, and did we mention the Nomad London can be booked using your Hilton Honors points at Hilton.com? Hilton, for this day.
The following is a presentation of the Bleep Sports Media Network.
Any sitcom freeze frame.
I was doing the snare stick tap, but you know the little tap on the side, how they do that to get that sound. But then I switched to the cymbal because I was like, nobody's gonna be able to see the.
I thought you were going with the hi-hat.
Oh yeah, well that I usually go with the hi-hat. I usually change it up, but because you always get the crash, you always get the nice little, in there.
That's right, we do. Well, welcome to the Saturday brunch edition of No Credentials Required, where you don't need a press pass to talk sports. We are proudly presented by Belly Up Sports. My name is Ryan McCarthy. I'm one of your hosts. And to my right is a man who is drinking a ton of coffee this morning because, unfortunately, Game 2 of the Stanley Cup Final did not go the Edmonton Oilers' way. But we're going to talk about that later. Dustin Henry. Dustin, how are we doing this morning?
I'm doing all right. I just wish that the game had gone another way, obviously, last night. And also a little glimpse into my personal life or lack thereof, depending on how you view it. I am feverishly trying to get my hands on a Nintendo Switch 2. I've got a website that'll let me know when they're in stock again, and it refreshes every minute. So I might have to make a quick order during the show.
So the Babylon Bee had a headline this week saying Americans call in sick for 2 weeks due to new Japanese virus. It was a picture of the Nintendo Switch 2.
Oh yeah, dude.
Will you be one of those? Will you be one of those workers who calls in sick for 2 weeks because you got this strange Japanese virus?
No. I've never called in. I've never called in for a console launch. Now I did get sent home one time. I did get sent home because when the PS4 launched, my boss was nice enough. He basically helped me pay it off as a surprise because you had to put down a deposit, and I went to pick it up, and it's like, it's been paid for. And then he texted me, and he's like, enjoy the rest of the day off. And I was like, nice. Oh, that was pretty nice. So, but that's the closest I've ever got. I definitely know one of my dear friends. He may or may not live in Virginia. He definitely probably called out because he got it on launch. So. I want that Mario Kart World goodness. It looks so good. I'm ready to go. How are you today, sir?
I'm doing pretty good. I got up early this morning because I've been taking care of other people's pets for the last week. Today was the last day, so thankfully I don't have to do it anymore. I can sleep in sorta tomorrow morning if my cat
there you go.
Tag along. The show mascot doesn't wake me up 3 times in the middle of the night, jumping up in my face and yelling at me. But I was coming back. I got a funny story though. I was coming back from said friend's house, and actually stopped at CVS first for some shaving cream because I had to do the old dome this morning. And I was stopped at my usual sandwich place, Russell's, which is shout out to Russell, my my sandwich guy. I usually stop there on Saturdays unless he's out of town for my breakfast sandwich. I decided to get some coffee this morning, so. In my Jets mug. And I walk in, fixing my coffee. I see a guy. I see 2 guys. One guy has a Jets hat on. The other guy has a Jets shirt on. So I'm getting my coffee and I'm walking towards the register because Russell's already got my order taken care of. He's got it on the griddle. I'm looking at my mug. Look at the guys. One of the guys looking at his hat, looking at my mug, looking at the guy's shirt, making sure they notice. Like I'm just looking down, looking up, looking down, looking up, and they go, boy, we're not really hiding our fandom this morning, are we? We proceed to go into a conversation about football, which is kind of a nice warm up to what we're going to talk about today. But won't be about the Jets, won't be about football. Football's in the back burner. Although we did have some news yesterday, but we won't discuss it. We'll save it till Friday. We'll save it till Tuesday because we're
all right. We're saving that till Tuesday.
You're going to show nice and condensed, like because of the sticky YouTube retention. But before we get into this episode, we're going to bring in our boy of summer, Kevin Wilson, talk about baseball in Miami because of what happened this week with the Marlins and the Rockies. We're talking about Stanley Cup, first 2 games of the Stanley Cup. Spoiler alert, this may be some of the greatest hockey you've ever seen. I'm not being hyperbolic. This is legitimately some of the best hockey you'll ever watch.
The game was a classic.
Both games were classic.
Yes.
Both games were.
Yes.
We're also going to do hot food takes. We're going to do our picnic side dish battle, and we'll reveal our favorite athletes to wear the number 41. But before we do that, got to take care of some business here. Got to let the people know to follow us on social media: Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube. Just type in "no credentials required." Hit that like button. Hit that subscribe button. Also, check out our other podcasts and articles at bellyupsports.com. On the podcast side, subscribe to the podcast wherever you listen to podcasts, including Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Spreaker, Amazon Music, iHeart, TuneIn, and Pandora. And also, don't forget to hit that bell, ring my bell, as this guy would say, on Twitter and on YouTube. That way, you know when you're notified about when we go live, when we have show announcements, when we have show clips go up. You are properly notified. And also on the podcast side, rate, review, comment. Leave a 5-star rating. Leave a review where you can. On Spotify, leave a comment. And because we're a live show, most Tuesdays at 6:30 p.m. Eastern and most Saturdays at 10 a.m. Eastern and the occasional Friday happy hour at 8 p.m. Eastern on certain Fridays. We want you to leave some comments in the comments section. Also, if you're watching this on the YouTube channel, on the Belly Up Sports YouTube channel, later, leave us a comment about baseball, about Stanley Cup Final, about your favorite hot picnic side dish or your favorite number 41, favorite athlete to wear the number 41. And Dustin, I know we're both a little tired, we're both a little groggy this morning, but this tune, when it's this time of day, that always seems to pick us up.
I'm always perked up for chime time.
Yeah, you are. All right, we're going to go ahead and bring in our boy of summer. Where is that element? Where is it? Nope, that's not it. This is it. Our boy of summer. He is part of the Belly Up Sports Fantasy Network, covering both football and baseball. Football just started. The fantasy football portion just started with the Dynasty. Wish you guys would wait a little bit longer to do that, but that's just me. Because sometimes you get a little fatigue with fantasy sports, but that's okay. This guy's always here to cover it. We got Mr. Kevin Wilson. Kevin, how are we doing this morning?
I'm doing great, guys. It's always wonderful to be here, and so we're going to have some interesting topics. I am absolutely positive, and I appreciate that you rolled that chime out so everybody's now awake. And so
we can play it again.
Well, I'm awake. I don't know about y'all, but I'm awake.
I'm getting there. We're getting there. I mean, I know you're in Texas, so you're enjoying some sunny skies. Where we are, we have had 29 consecutive weeks of precipitation, whether it be rain or snow or sleet. I'm beginning to resent living up here. But I know in Texas where you are, it's nice and sunny, but it's not going to be just sunny for that very long. I know sometimes the summers in Texas can get like nice circle of hell type of hot.
Right.
Yeah. How did the
ring
Rangers
of fire definitely surrounds us during the summer?
Right. Yeah. How did the Rangers ever build an outdoor stadium? That's what I don't understand. Who's going to games in summer in Arlington? I'll
tell you who. Monsters. That's who.
It's because when I came out here, they were playing, of course, in their open air stadium, and they had a promotion where I went to a game in the fall or the spring, which I was happy to do, they give a free ticket, but it was in August. And me and a friend of mine went to it, and it was absolutely awful. And I would not recommend that kind of experience again. Fortunately for all concerned, now they play indoors, and we don't have that worries anymore, because it used and you used to have to walk like 2 miles to get to the stadium, so it was hot and everything else. So, but if you're a baseball fan like I am, sometimes you put up with it. Fortunately, I don't have to do that anymore.
You would crawl through broken glass to get to a baseball stadium, Kevin. I know you're that kind of guy. You love your baseball.
Yeah. I mean, your commitment to baseball and mine as well, Ryan. Let's not sell ourselves short, because we did try to run to catch the train in Poughkeepsie. We failed. We failed, but we tried to run to get there, and then you had to drive. So that was
well, before we get into our primary topic, we just got to mention last night the our New York Yankees, mine and Dustin's New York Yankees, beat the reviled Boston Red Sox 9-6, and for that we need to play a certain PSA from certain wise man.
The following is a public service announcement from Wise El Jefe.
Boston.
This has been a public service announcement from Wise El Jefe.
For our tribal chief.
He will be joining us for our review of The Natural.
Yes, he will. Oh, by the way, I forgot to mention off the top of the show for business, taking care of business. Unfortunately for Tuesday, we couldn't find Youngblood on streaming. That's some hockey movie with Rob Lowe, Patrick Swayze, like 20 and 30-year-old guys playing like 17, 16, 17, 18-year-old men.
You could put it in Slapshot instead.
Well, actually, Dustin and I discussed this yesterday. We're actually going to review Mystery Alaska on Tuesday with Russell Crowe, Burt Reynolds, Mary McCormick, some other people who you may be familiar with, but you can't name off the top of your head. But you always say, "Hey, I know that guy."
Yeah. Where's he from?
Where's he from?
Hey, I know that guy from that movie.
Yeah. I mean, come on, it's a hockey movie with Burt Reynolds. Come on, it's Burt Reynolds. Rest in peace. Man, we lost him too soon.
Yeah.
All right, let's discuss this week in baseball.
Okay.
Our primary topic is the abysmal attendance figures that we saw this week in Miami in their series between the Marlins and the visiting Colorado Rockies. Now, the Colorado Rockies, abysmal record this year. Arguably, they might turn out to be the worst team in modern history, but they swept the Marlins. They swept the Marlins. They're a wagon, baby. However, they lost to the Mets last night, which I would have LOL'd out loud if the Mets had lost to the Rockies, just because I wanted to see the connection that Frank the Tank would put up on Twitter for it. But the attendance figures on at least Monday. I was listening to our boys, friends of the show, Levac and Guys, while I was mowing my lawn on Tuesday. And they were talking about it. And the attendance figure, the official attendance figure for Monday's game. Now, this is what they released. This is what the Marlins released as the attendance for Monday's game was 5,894. However, if you do a Google search for Marlins Rockies Monday game, you're going to see a picture that looks starkly different than the official attendance figure released by the Miami Marlins. And it looked like I'm sorry. This is before Uncle Melvin showed up, because if I say the word, it'll have the whole title below in the and it'll be a little disclaimer. I don't know if YouTube does that anymore or Spotify does that anymore. If you say a certain word, they'll put it in the disclaimer below. But I'll just say before Uncle Melvin, those figures while Uncle Melvin showed up, basically. Mm-hmm. But it looked sparser than 2020 and 2021. So I want to talk about this, Kevin, because this has been on my mind pretty much since, I'd say, probably the 98 season. Been on my mind for almost 30 years. what the hell is Major League Baseball doing in Miami, and why? And is this an indication that that baseball, Major League Baseball, is officially starting to die in Miami?
Well, I don't know if it ever woke up down there. Seriously.
Sorry, I just heard.
Yeah, I heard
I heard Mrs. Wilson chuckling in the back.
That's a Hall of Fame show moment right there.
That's a clip right there. That's a bumper.
You know, the interesting thing about this is that the Miami Marlins remain the only team that has never won their division, never, and has 2 World Series championships.
That disturbs
I didn't
me.
know that. You just blew my mind, Kevin.
Yeah, they've never won a division title in their history. They're probably, I'd have to do some research, but I would highly believe that they're the only team that's never won their division ever.
Wow.
They have no, you're right. They have no division titles. Period.
That's right. And they got in on the wild card, and that's when they won against Cleveland, and then they won against your Yankees, and what was that, 2004?
We don't talk about that, Kevin.
Okay, I'm done with that. Okay.
It's still sore.
But every time that they've done that, they tore the team completely apart, right down to the bolts, and then wondered why nobody showed up. If they had some successful seasons after like the World Series, we probably wouldn't be in this right now. But their fans, what may have been fans, they totally understand, and they've seen it right. You know, Giancarlo Stanton is playing for the New York Yankees right now because he hit 50 home runs for the Marlins, and they're like, well, we can't have this. So they shipped him off to New York. So if you're in Miami, why in the world would you want to support something like that?
Yeah, you know that anytime there's a big star that they're going to leave. I mean, Dontrell Willis, he was as good as anybody for a couple of seasons before he got hurt, but they let him go. Giancarlo Stanton, they've let go of any star that they've had. They let him go. Even Jazz Chisholm.
Yeah,
Jazz Chisholm
right now. Both of those guys are up on near Yankees. Yep. Why? Because the Marlins sold them, and they had a Hall of Fame first baseman, third baseman that they sent to Detroit. Right. So
I forgot he was on.
Cabrera was a Marlin.
Cabrera. Yeah. And so this has just been going on since and amazingly they actually got to the playoffs a couple of years ago.
2020 and 2023.
Right.
Incredibly.
But as soon as they get to the playoffs, even if they just get it and lose, they're shipping players out already. And so it's a bad mix down there because, Miami, they're into the Heat, they're into the Dolphins, and right now they're into the Panthers, even though I have no idea where surprise Florida is compared to Miami. I have no clue on that one. And so you've got all this going on, and you got the beach and everything else. They don't care about baseball, even though from what I understand, that stadium is really a nice stadium. I've never been down to Miami, so I can't say from practical experience, but it's got a roof. So you don't have to worry about it being 98 degrees with 93% humidity. You can go to a game and be comfortable, unlike what Tampa's going to have to go through this year. And it's not a trash stadium like Tampa has been playing in for the last, 30, whatever it is, years, even before the hurricane trashed it. And so Miami should be able to support a baseball team, but based on it, just because they know they're going to sell off everybody. And this past week, you have the Colorado Rockies roll in there. Who could have imagined that the 2 worst teams in baseball in the National League wouldn't have any fans come out to see them? So, in the first game that you mentioned, Ryan, they were up 4-1 in the second inning of that game.
And
it all slid off the mountainside after that. And everything should have been in their favor. Rockies were throwing pitchers out there with 6+ ERAs. And on the second game, Sandy Alcantara, who has been absolutely brutal. And Vince and I have talked about him. You don't want him on your fantasy team anywhere near your fantasy team. And he went out there and pitched 6 innings.
I would add until the trade deadline.
You think they're going to ship?
He's going to go. That's going to want him. That's going to mean anything.
No, he's going to go somewhere. Maybe
somebody
will go. He'll go somewhere.
But let me go on record right now. Keep Sandy Alcantara far away from your fantasy team. Doesn't matter if he gets traded or not. I want nothing whatever to do with it.
Do you think? I mean, there's been rumblings. I mean, maybe something's going on with him. Maybe he's hurt. Maybe he's got like a Bryce Miller situation. Something. I mean, who knows? Who knows? But Ryan, the thing that mystifies me about Miami's attendance, and I get it, it's Miami. There's a lot more to do. Kevin just laid it out. They love the heat. They got the beaches. They got everything. But Colorado's bad too. And you could argue that Colorado does what the Marlins do to a lesser degree. Yet you go to a game at Coors, it's packed from what I hear.
Dustin, I've got it right here. They get 27,000. They average 27,000. They're 16th in Major League Baseball for a team that's on pace to lose 130 games. Wow. And then you look at Miami's 30th or 28th, I'm sorry. There's only 2 teams at Worth, and they both play in minor league stadium. So Colorado fans have always supported the Rockies. It's really a miracle, and that's why they don't care up in Colorado, because they know people are going to come.
Yeah, people are going to go.
And that's another beautiful stadium, from what I understand. I'd love to go to a game in Colorado at some point. But
I would only go to Lone Depot Park because of the all-you-can-eat through the first 7 innings.
Oh, that's the Marlins. Who was that guy that you sent me?
That was Suryatt. Shout out Suryatt. He makes great content.
He's trying to do it.
He actually did wind up trying to eat the. He's like, I'm still pissed at them for 1997 because they beat my Indians, because he's from Ohio.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna try to eat them. I'm gonna try to put them in debt by eating them out of the stadium. And he went up spending basically like the equivalent of $162. So he barely put.
Yeah,
I could get behind that. I could get behind that.
Oh man, but
go ahead.
I'm just mystified. I mean, Ryan, do you know what it could be? I mean, yes, Colorado has always supported the Rockies, but they have other things to do up there. It's not as much as Miami, and I would like to go to a game at Coors, but I just don't. It's mystifying to me to see the 2 extremes. And do you think it's just? I mean, maybe it's frustration with Marlins ownership. I mean, I don't know. Although, who knows? And that I have heard nice things about the stadium as well. But whenever they hit a home run and you see that abomination that I think is supposed to be a dolphin, like go around on that wheel. I can't get behind that.
No, I can't do that either.
It's not Bernie Brewer. For sure.
No. Because I've been to the Milwaukee Stadium and saw Bernie slide down the slide. That's awesome.
Yeah, I love that.
I've also been to Houston when they hit a home run and they've got the train that's way up there high and it starts going. That's something you can get behind. Not some monstrosity that looks like it could eat children or something. That
even the home run apple at Citi Field is better than that.
Oh,
whatever the Kraken is in Miami.
Remember the time when the Mets hit a home run at Shea and the apple got stuck and it just stuck.
I remember. We got a comment in the comment section. Sick Diggy from the friend of the show, Sick Diggy, joining us from Norway, saying good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good night. Good day to you, sir.
Yeah.
I know it's what is it? I think it's like maybe 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock in Norway right now. I don't know, but
they're bringing about the only thing that's worse than that thing that Miami has is the mascot from the New Orleans Pelicans. I don't know what is going on with that.
Oh, I have not seen this. I'll have to do some research after the show.
Okay, it's totally repellent unless they've changed it, because they even talked about it on ESPN as being awful.
The
So,
worst mascot.
And just FYI, it is 4:30 in Oslo, Norway right now.
4:30 in the evening.
4:30 in the afternoon. So
Oh, in
Okay.
the afternoon, early
he's
afternoon.
joining us in the afternoon. So guten afternoon, or however you say it in Norwegian.
so that's
yes,
getting to the point
nice
where
to
the
see
sun
it.
doesn't come down till like what, at 10 o'clock or 11 or something like that.
They're almost there because I know that if you're anywhere near the Arctic Circle, you're gonna get
Which I have
24 hours
been,
of
by the
daylight.
way.
Wow.
Come
I've
on,
been
Frank.
to Alaska in the summer. It's something that you need to experience.
But let's get back to the topic at hand.
Okay, so yeah, we were way off the beaten trail right there.
Will there be? Do we see a future where there are any Major League Baseball teams in Florida? I'd say within the next 10 to 20 years, based on the attendance figures we're having right now.
I would like to say no, but for some reason they like their team baseball. I mean, like them down there, and if you can't erase a team that's gotten 5,000 for what, however many years now, and you had mentioned that this isn't even the worst attendance that they've done.
No,
And-
this year they averaged 11,648 fans. Last year they averaged 13,425. But again, these are just people who probably bought season tickets or bought tickets ahead of time and don't bother showing up to the game because of the matchup. They only come to town when it's the Mets, when it's the Phillies, like when all the Northeast teams come there. Because I'm guessing, I'm just projecting, I'm just speculating here, so I don't know for sure. Maybe I'm right, maybe I'm wrong. If there's anybody in either of those markets in the chat, let us know, or in the comments section, give us a heads up on what's going on with the beat in Florida is. But I know with Tampa, they've been over the last probably decade and a half, they've been relatively successful. They've been in the World Series. They've won a couple.
Right.
They've
as
won
far
a
as
pennant.
teams are concerned, they've been successful, but
yes.
they can't get fans to go to their games either. So I think that's a lot to do with their stadium, probably more than anything else.
I know Tropicana Field has been widely panned as as arguably the worst stadium in Major League Baseball by both fans and players.
Players have been vocal about it.
Players are very vocal about it because of the facilities in there. While Lone Depot Park basically being built on the site of the old Orange Bowl Stadium, which to me is a sin. But Jeffrey Loria got his way.
And you name your place Lone Depot, you probably don't deserve to have any fans. That's just
look, I've got my issues with Jeffrey Loria going back to how he treated the Montreal Expos for all basically selling them out to Major League Baseball so he can buy the Florida Marlins back in the day. I do not like that, man.
No, well, and that's what I was going to say. Move baseball back to Montreal. They were a market that supported it.
The problem right now is that they would need to find an investor who would be crazy enough to pay all those taxes that players have to pay. I guess the going rate right now for players, provincial income tax is 20%. Then you're paying, I don't know about federal tax because you gotta pay both. Olympic Stadium, the roof at Olympic Stadium is currently being rebuilt again. Because you can't host anything if there's a certain limit of snow that you can host an event. Like you can really only host events during the spring and summer. In the fall, because it starts to snow around October-ish in Montreal, you can only have a certain limit of snow on top of that roof right now, or you don't play. You don't have any events hosted there. So right now, the only things that are being hosted there are basically concerts. So I know Metallica played there about a year or so ago, and there would have to be some sort of. I know that they were trying to build a site, put a site. I don't remember where. I'll do the research for it. But they were trying to get a site where they could possibly put a Major League Baseball team back in Montreal. I know the Tampa Bay Rays experimented with the idea of possibly splitting the season. Between Tampa Bay and Montreal, like play one half down in Florida, play the other half in Quebec, but then it never came to fruition because Uncle Melvin arrived. First of all, but Yeah, I mean, you could see I could see Montreal as a possible city. I could see Charlotte as a possible city. I could see Nashville as a possible city. They've already got an NFL team. They've already got an NHL franchise. They got Major League Soccer. They currently play at Nissan. I think the Titans currently play at Nissan Stadium, but they're having a new football stadium built.
Mhm.
They want to host a Super Bowl eventually.
Oh, okay.
But I mean, I've said
Is
where they could possibly go, but that's just me.
as far as if they, I keep hearing this about what city should baseball expand to. The answer is nowhere, because there are too many openings in Major League Baseball as it is, and there's a lot of players that are in Major League Baseball that don't belong, simply stated. So if they want to put teams in some cities, move them out of Florida and put them somewhere else. That's my answer to that. But don't expand. Don't put 32 teams out there or whatever, because the product is going to suffer.
Are you arguing for contraction, Mr. Seelig?
No. I'm not arguing for contraction. What's here is here. I'm arguing extremely against expansion. It's not enough players for that. So if you want to put some teams in places like Nashville, I think that could be supportive of baseball. Move a team from Florida over there. And that would be my response to 6,000 fans. I'm pretty sure whatever other city we put these guys in would have better response than that.
So I'm looking at Montreal. So the new roof at Olympic Stadium is expected to be completed by late 2027. So they're hoping to have the stadium open year round. It was poorly designed in the 1970s when the Olympics were even in town. And there's a couple of places that have been discussed about putting a Major League Baseball team. That includes the Peel Basin, Old Port, which is right by the St. Lawrence River, which I think would be a great setup, and the Blue Bonnets racetrack site. So, look, if you can get yourself a billionaire somewhere in Quebec, the Videotron owner who also owns the Montreal Alouettes, to possibly put some cash into it and get some other investors, maybe get the province of Quebec to jump on board, have yourself a baseball stadium, have yourself a site, and maybe get a retractable roof stadium, because I know winter doesn't end in Montreal until April, and it begins somewhere around October, November. So you want to have it optimal for playing conditions.
Yeah, somehow they get away with that in Minnesota.
Mm-hmm.
Somehow, I was very surprised that Target Field did not have a retractable roof.
Yeah, but are they? I'm trying to think. Oh no, I might be getting it confused with the Vikings' new stadium. They're trying to.
The Vikings US Bank Stadium has a retractable roof.
Yeah, it does. Yeah. It does. When it's -12, it certainly helps to have that roof going on.
Yeah, we don't want to be like that reporter in Tampa Bay that asked Todd Bowles before the playoffs a couple of years ago. She was like, "How are you going to contend with the temperatures? Are you ready?" And he's like, "They play indoors."
That was before the Lions. That's before they played the Lions. Like they play indoors.
Oh man, that was a moment.
That should be like. I'm sure it's on YouTube.
Oh yeah,
for sure.
That should be like somebody should have that on their wall somewhere.
They play indoors.
It was such a Todd Bowles delivery too.
Oh man. Oh, it was it was, because Todd Bowles is not exactly the most charismatic figure.
Yeah,
but he's a good guy though. He's a good guy. From what I understand.
And he can scheme a defense, Ryan. We'll probably talk about it.
He can do that.
That's right. He's the only one who stopped the tush push.
Uh-huh.
And they still, and yet Major League Football, Major League Football, National Football League,
the MLF, the MLF,
the MLF. Yeah. All right, we're going to continue our sports conversation in just a moment. Before that, we just got to talk about one of our new affiliate sponsors at No Credentials Required. That's Fanatics. being a fan isn't just about game day. It's about every day. At Fanatics, we've got the gear to rep your team and the memorabilia to make it unforgettable. From jerseys to limited edition collectibles, from the stands to your shelf, it's all here. Fan gear, fan moments, Fanatics. And I got to reveal the shirt I'm wearing today that I ordered on Fanatics.
Awesome.
Got the Utah Mammoth representing Tusks up, baby.
Nice.
Even though I'm a Jersey Devils fan, I do love me some sports aesthetic, and I'm gonna wear myself some gear from the Utah. So that's what I get the shirt. It's a great shirt, by the way. I mean, Fanatics, it
looks great
for as much flack as they've gotten,
but they deserved every bit of it too. By the way,
they did deserve every bit of it, but they have gotten better. I will admit they have good gear. I've got my New Jersey Devils shirt that I got. It's a Fanatic shirt I got in New Jersey last time I was there. Currently in my hamper, waiting to be washed. So, but this shirt is pretty nice. It's very comfortable, and I highly recommend it. But you can get this shirt. You can get my New Jersey Devils shirt. You can get any other fan gear you need at our affiliate link, which is in the description on YouTube and on the podcast side. We would love if you would order your gear, order your memorabilia, whether you wear a hat, whether you wear a t-shirt, get some shorts, get some memorabilia, other knickknacks. Please order through our affiliate link. It helps out the show every little bit. And we appreciate Fanatics for jumping on board and being our affiliate sponsor for No Credentials Required. All right, before we're about halfway through the show, so we're going to talk about the Stanley Cup Final. The summary so far, we've had 2 games, games 1 and 2. Game 1 was played Wednesday. 4-3 win by the Edmonton Oilers. And then last night, Florida Panthers struck back with a 5-4 win in double overtime. Dustin, you're the Oilers fan. How you feeling this morning about this series?
Well, I mean, honestly, this is how I thought the series would go. Now, it went in reverse order because both Brent and I think you, Ryan, we all thought that Edmonton was going to drop game 1 because they were going to.
Nope.
Oh,
you
were the contrarian.
I was
That's
the contrarian.
Right. It was Brian. Okay, yes, it was
and
Brian, Brent, and I.
In the words of Ace Ventura, man, I hate being right.
Yeah, but this is what I thought would happen. I thought it would be a split. I was hoping for 2-0. I was hoping Edmonton was going to go up 2-0.
And it looked like that for a while.
But they just couldn't do it. But this series is shaping up exactly how we all thought it would. I think this is going to be a classic. And if you look at the shots per game, now Edmonton has outshot Florida in the first 2 games by a bit, but not by a ton. These 2 teams are pretty evenly matched. And like I said, the Panthers have the edge in goaltending because Bobrovsky has been stopping some things. I mean, no disrespect to Skinner. He's been hanging in there. But I still say, if you don't think that Bobrovsky is better than Skinner, then you need to check yourself because he is. He straight up is. But Leon Draisaitl, it's been great to see him show up for the playoffs and this series. He has been instrumental in the Oilers' success. And might I add, I'm not usually right about a lot, but I was right about Corey Perry. Corey Perry is doing he's making plays and doing veteran leadership things. He is the one that scored the goal with 7 seconds left last night to force OT. And I heard on the broadcast, they were talking about how they talked to Corey Perry, and he said exactly what I have been, thinking. He said, the team is different this year. We've got a different feel. There's a relaxation that wasn't there when things get a little hairy on the ice. It's very calm on the bench. Everybody keeps their calm. And the problem is the Panthers are very similar. We talked about how relaxed they are heading into this series. They're going and they're getting blizzards, which shout out to the Panthers for that. Who doesn't love a good blizzard? But
doesn't?
man,
I know lactose intolerant people don't.
Well, yeah. They unfortunately
and
they
people
got
with
dealt
and people with peanut allergies.
yes, but
Sorry.
But man, I am so excited, but also nervous. I can't take the first game went to 1 overtime. The Oilers pulled it out. The second game went to 2 overtimes. I can't take much more of this. Okay. I not only is it depriving my sleep, but I think I told you we were texting after game 1. I said, I think that overtime took years off my life because I was so nervous because I thought the Oilers for sure they were firing off all these shots in that overtime, and yet Bobrovsky was stopping them all. And I'm going, eventually the Panthers are going to start peppering Skinner, and they're going to lose this. They're going to lose this. But it didn't happen. But we head into game 3 tied up, and I think this is going 7 for sure.
Well, you get 2 days. You get the entire weekend to rest your adrenaline. Your adrenaline system, because they don't play again until Monday, and then game 4 is on Thursday.
Yeah.
So I don't know why they have this weird schedule. Like, do they want the guys to enjoy their time on the beach between games? I mean, but I guess it goes along with the NBA Finals too, because NBA Finals started. Game 1 was Thursday. I think game 2 is tonight.
Yes, game 2
and then
should be.
Game 3 isn't until Tuesday. I'll
That's
double
right.
check. I'll double check it. But
I can confirm that information.
Okay. All right. So let's I'll give my thoughts in just a moment, but I'm going to hand it over to our boy of summer here, Mr. Wilson. How about your thoughts about this first 2 games of the Stanley Cup Final so far? What's your thoughts on it?
Well, when I first came out here to Dallas, let me just say, I thought hockey blows. Okay. But
dare you, sir?
Okay, but I have switched that, and we have gone to Stars games, unfortunately for us, because they always let us down. But anyway, and these 2 games right here, if they can't convert you to a hockey fan, nothing ever will do that.
No.
Because both games went to overtime. It's only the 6th time ever. And how many Stanley Cups has there been? 100 and I don't know how many. But okay. So
132. I think this is the 132nd edition.
Okay, so 6 times in NHL history.
Because 1993 was the 100th anniversary of the Stanley Cup. And
okay.
This is
so you're bringing on the power right there with that. But so either team could have won both those games, or either team could have lost both of those games.
Yes.
And you mentioned about Bobrovsky. He had 46 shots come at him. And that's what separates hockey to me from like soccer.
Mm-hmm.
Because you go to a soccer game, how many shots on goal were there? 5.
Yeah.
And you just sit there and watch the ball go back and forth for 3.5 hours. I've never understood what the soccer fascination is, because they show everybody going bat crazy when they score a goal, but it's the only goal they scored in the whole game. So anyway, so off that rant. But so both of these games have been outstanding. I thought this was what was going to happen going into the series, because both of these teams are not afraid to, they put goals into the net, right? And these teams are not afraid to go on the road. These guys have dominated series, because the Panthers dominated the Hurricanes after the Hurricanes put the number 1 team in the East away. Then you had the Dallas Stars, who put the number 1 team in hockey, period, away. And except for that one third period in game 1, they thoroughly dominated the Dallas Stars, so much so that their coach is now on the side of the road saying, I'll work for food. Okay. And that has to do with how he handled Ottinger more than anything else. But it surely did not help that the Oilers swept 4 straight from Dallas. So these teams come in hot. They're both outstanding. I don't like you, Ryan. I don't understand this 4 games in or 2 games in, days between games. I kind of understand it going from Edmonton to Florida. I get that. But then you're in Florida, and then they sit around for 2 days. How are you supposed to maintain momentum if you have a schedule like that?
So I'm actually looking at the NBA final schedule. Game 2 is tomorrow night.
Oh, I
Game
thought for
3,
sure it was tonight.
I thought for sure it'd be tonight, but I guess ABC decided no.
I thought
We're gonna play repeats of whatever drama hit drama for the summer is gonna be tonight. But game 2 is tomorrow. Game 3 is Wednesday. Game 4 is Friday. So yeah, it's some weird scheduling.
So the NBA is doing the same thing with the 2 days off between games, which I don't understand.
Yeah,
that first game, and you have Tyrese Halliburton hit the shot with 0.3 seconds, and we could talk about that. I think that's Indiana's announced itself. And I grew up in Indiana, so I must support. And also because Pascal Siakam, where he went to college at New Mexico State, is my wife's alma mater. So we are all in on the Indiana Pacers here. And Oklahoma City can certainly win that series, but Indiana has shown they're here to play.
But who cares about the NBA Finals? Let's talk about the NHL Stanley Cup Final.
I just want to throw that in there and say, hey, Indiana, we're with you. Okay? That's it. I'm out.
This program is neutral on the NBA Finals.
Okay.
But I was actually
we have to be pro Indiana, though. We have to do that. Okay.
That's okay. You guys can be. I'm indifferent. But but I'm looking at the forward schedule in cases of Game 5 and a Game 6. Game 5 is on Monday the 16th. Game 6, if necessary, is Thursday the 19th. So this is some odd scheduling by the NBA. Not just the NHL, but the NBA too.
Right.
So it's just weird.
Didn't you mention on Tuesday's show that they were kind of ping-ponging so that they're not on the same night?
That's what I thought that they were doing, because ESPN not only broadcasts the NBA, but they're also broadcasts the NHL. Yes. By the way, Bob Wischusen should be the number one play-by-play guy, not Sean McDonough. I can't take his voice crack anymore, man. It was cute in the beginning, but now it's just getting annoying. And Bob Wischusen should be the number one play-by-play guy, because Bob Wischusen's awesome, FYI.
Okay,
anyway,
there we have it.
My thoughts in the Stanley Cup Final.
Break it down for
first 2 games. I mentioned at the top of the show, I said this could turn out to be one of the greatest Stanley Cup playoff series ever. And I had to step back and say, maybe I'm being a bit hyperbolic, because hyperbole gets hot takes, gets all the clicks. I'm not. This is not hyperbole. This is legitimately one of the best Stanley Cup playoffs we've had, or the Stanley Cup Finals we've had in quite a while, and we're only 2 games in. I mean, last year we saw a team rally from a 3-0 deficit to fall short by 1 goal in Game 7. They've come back for revenge. This is a revenge tour. Revengerine by the Edmonton Oilers. Came back from a 2-goal deficit in Game 1. Won in overtime by Leon Draisaitl, who my co-host has said has showed up. I think last year he might have been hurt. He might have been hurt last year.
He might have had something going on for sure, but I remember it was a thing that he had not scored. They kept track of when he scored his first goal of the playoffs. Leon Draisaitl had a bad, by his standard, playoff, and that is not the case this year.
No, it is definitely not the case this year, because he scored the first goal in Game 1 66 seconds in.
Yeah.
A minute 6 in, and he bookended it with the game-winning goal in overtime on Wednesday. Last night he scored. Period 1 was wild last night.
Oh my goodness.
Absolutely wild.
Oh my goodness.
5 goals scored in total in that period. And I put down $2.50 on DraftKings, a nice little parlay. I had Edmonton over 2.5 goals. I had Leon Draisaitl scoring. I had a draw after the first period, and I had Carter Verhaeghe scoring. Only 2 of those things came true, but I only lost $2.50. So
yeah,
this is why I don't bet big. This is why I stifle myself. It makes money.
From the movie The Patriot. Aim small, miss small. But Ryan, I wanted, so you were starting to explain and let me know, as part of your Stanley Cup thoughts, what is the difference with soccer? Because you were starting to explain that there's goals and then there's
so with soccer, the way they count shots on goal is they count shots which are towards the net but don't make the net or don't make the goaltender, the goalkeeper, and there are shots on goal. So
I gotcha. Two separate categories.
Well, either way, I'm out.
You gotta go to a live game. I will say this about soccer, okay? I mean, I'll be fair about soccer because I don't want to dump on soccer. I know we got some soccer.
Okay, well, I already did it for you, so you don't need to do it also.
Well, hold on. We've got a worldwide audience, Kevin, so I want to explain.
Okay.
Soccer on television to an American audience, yes, looks very slow. It's an hour and a half here. It's 2 hours of your life that are just, I wouldn't say wasted, but there could be better things you could be doing with your life in 2 hours. However, you go to a live match, that's fun. I took Dustin to a New York Red Bulls Seattle Sounders game about almost 10 years ago. Damn, 10 years ago. We had a fun time because I had a season supporter pass for the New York Red Bulls. So it's a 2.5 hour drive to the stadium, 2.5 hour drive back. But going there and just being with the fans is a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun. So,
you could say the same thing about hockey, though.
Oh, yeah.
True.
Hockey's my favorite live.
And that horn goes off, man, and everybody's rocking. There's few things at a live sporting event that I've attended that rank up there like that. And
all right.
So there it goes.
But what do you think's the difference in the series so far, Ryan? Are you the goaltending? Speaking of shots on goal and all this, do you give the edge to Bobrovsky like I do?
I definitely do. I think Skinner looked a little rattled in period 2 after having Sam Bennett land on his leg. It looked scary for a minute, but he shook it off. So I'm happy that he was back in net. And although Calvin Pickard's a steady backup, I will say that. But I think period 2, Florida kind of started to impose their will, as you've seen throughout the entire playoffs. Not so much during the regular season, but during the playoffs, they've really poured it on. They've let people know, hey, we're the champions. We're the defending champions. We're gonna hold our ground as best we can. They had 2 goals in the second period. One of them a shorthanded goal by Marchand, and then the game-winning goal by Marchand, who has proved. I think he's the active leader now in game-winning goals for the Stanley Cup playoffs. So
and what an acquisition by the Panthers!
I was just getting ready to say that, Dustin. If you want to see how a successful team builds a team, just look at Florida. They brought him in there, and he's got a sort of a reputation of being a less than team guy. Okay, but they brought him down there, and he's been everything they could have possibly asked for. That's what the Stars had going there for a minute when they brought in Rantanen, if I'm saying his name correctly.
Rantanen?
Yeah,
I mean, you mentioned Marchand. You had to put a rat in that sentence.
Right.
And appropriately enough, he's with the Florida Panthers, who, when people score when players score goals, rats get thrown on the ice.
Yeah, that's a tradition I have failed to understand at all.
I can explain. Explain really quickly before we go to hot food takes and our favorite number 41s.
Okay.
So during the 1995-96 season, they were playing at Miami Arena, which was an older arena at that point. This is before they moved to Sunrise.
Okay.
Actually, before they moved to American Airlines.
Sunrise. I think I called it Surprise. It's Sunrise.
Sunrise.
Okay.
Surprise in Florida. So Scott Mellenby, during this, I think it was right either during the first round of the playoffs or right before the playoffs started, he saw a rat, a literal rat in Miami Arena, and killed it with his hockey stick.
Oh man!
Just the legend of the rats being thrown, the plastic rats being thrown the ice during the playoffs.
That's inside takes that you just won't get anywhere else but here.
Yeah,
That's right. That's knowledge. We're dropping here on.
That's why I call him Encyclopedia Britannica, because he knows.
I need to make.
You know what? You should get that copyrighted immediately.
I'll put it on a shirt.
Oh yeah, for
I'll wear it
sure.
around.
We'll have a Ryan line of shirts at our bonfires. One of them will be Encyclopedia Britannica. The other one will be Rystradamus. And then, only the real fans will know about the Sake Master shirts.
All right. Speaking of that, we're gonna move along to. We got some time, a little time left in the show. We're gonna move on to hot food takes. And Dustin. Oh, speaking of burgers. Dustin this week said, what haven't we done so far? And he put out there, I think I remember correctly, you said side dish battle. Potato salad, macaroni salad,
pasta salad.
Pasta salad.
Yeah.
To which I replied, I hate all three because I hate mayonnaise. I think mayonnaise is from the devil.
But that's just wrong. Let me just say
my
that.
take or mayonnaise, period. Or hating pasta salad or whatever. Anyway, but
so you are like the whole 9 yards. Did you see that movie?
I've seen it, but it's been many years.
And he hated mayonnaise so bad. Remember, that was his thing in that movie. So that's like you.
Rest in peace, Matthew Perry. But I throw it in a mix. I said I hate all three because I hate mayonnaise. I think mayonnaise is the worst condiment. What about baked beans? And I also mentioned I said my brother's mother-in-law, my brother Jim, his mother-in-law makes a great German potato salad because it doesn't have mayonnaise in it.
It's a vinegar-based one, right?
It's a vinegar-based one. I also like slaw if it's oil and vinegar based because I hate mayonnaise.
The best coleslaw when you just throw this in there, you can get from KFC.
KFC's coleslaw is good. It's really good.
Let me just throw that in there. We can proceed from here, but go ahead.
So we're gonna give we were gonna have like our power ranking for top picnic side dish, but we're pressed for time because we got into a lot today. What is your go-to side dish for picnics? And Dustin, since you came up with the category, I'm going to have you start off.
All right. I'm going to go with real fast. I'm going to go with, I think, what will be a surprise for people. But all right, my number one side dish, right? I'm big on snacks. I'm real big on snacks. Okay.
Oh, snacks. Come on.
My number one side dish, and my Uncle Matt could attest to this. I don't know if he's watching, but he throws a 4th of July party every year. I'm hoping to be able to go this year. Some things are up in the air. But what I always bring, and it's mostly because I want it, but it's also a hit with the kids, and you can put it out at any time, Chex Mix. I do homemade Chex Mix, and I bring it because you don't need to bring a cooler for it. You don't need to do any of that stuff. And trust me, if you show up to a picnic with a side Chex Mix, nobody's complaining, especially the homemade Chex Mix. You put the Worcestershire sauce in there. You put peanuts in there. You can put whatever you want. You can get real crazy with it. I like the original recipe on the back of the box. Follow that one. You're going to have a good time. Chex Mix is number one for me because it's versatile. You could open the proceedings with it. The Chex Mix is the snack to start the eating, or you can just have it on the table throughout. And while everybody else is putting their potato salad and everything on the plate, people are going to grab the Chex Mix. Trust me, Chex Mix is my number one draft pick for the side dish battle.
Fascinating. Kevin.
I thought for sure, Dustin, that you were going to go with pretzels.
These pretzels are making me thirsty. They're good.
Okay, so that's an interesting take. So my number one side dish would be deviled eggs.
Oh, that's a great pick, Kevin.
Okay,
that's a good one. Thank you for saving me.
Deviled eggs, and in fact, one of the recent nights where I was working late, and I come home and come in the house, and guess what was waiting for me? Deviled eggs.
Some nice deviled eggs.
Yeah. So life was instantly, returned to its, plus status when that happened. And so I love a great deviled egg. And whatever your main dish is, doesn't matter. Deviled eggs goes with it all. So that goes right to the top of my list.
That's a great one. That's a great one.
Pick. A good pick. Very good pick. I mean,
yeah.
I'm not a fan myself, but hey, to each their own.
Right. Encyclopedia.
I was gonna say my potato pancetta leek hat because
It's
it
good.
goes with now. It's not only it's not only like a good comfort dish for the winter and the fall when it's cold, but also makes a great side dish for picnics. But I do gotta say, I forget which one of them makes it. Which one of my sister-in-law's sisters or her mother makes it. They make fantastic baked beans. And they put it in make it properly with the bacon, put it in the oven, let it bake. I would like to do it one day. I would like to put candied bacon on top, like a little bit of brown sugar on top. I think the sweetness and the savory would just it would smash.
Oh yeah.
But I like me some baked beans at a picnic. That's
Okay.
my jam.
I can highly support that.
That's my jam.
I'm not a bean guy, but like you said,
I can support that.
Yeah. All right. So all different opinions, but that's okay. That's what makes Hot Food Takes what it is.
Okay.
That's what's been this edition of Hot Food Takes.
All right.
The bouncing burger's back. I always love it. I always love it.
Oh yeah. All right, we're going to come to the close of the show, reveal our favorite athletes to wear the number 41. And we've got different ones in this chat, in this on this panel. But I'm going to let our boy of summer lead off with his favorite number 41. So go right ahead, sir.
Okay, so as I was talking to you guys before we got started here, you could fire up the the hometown alert. Okay.
Oh, hang on, it's coming.
Okay.
There it is. Homer alert.
Homer alert. Okay. Because Dustin and I spoke about this, and I know who he's going to go with. And so I am not going to go there. I'm going to let him do that. But my number 41 happened to play for the Seattle Seahawks, and that's Eugene Robinson.
Okay.
Okay. Safety out of Colgate. And I don't know a lot about Colgate other than toothpaste. Okay. So I don't even know where it is.
It's in Vermont, I think.
Okay. I'll buy it.
Colgate is in Western New York.
Oh, it is?
Central New York. I think it's near Syracuse. Let me do the research. Hang on.
Okay.
Madison County, New York.
Oh,
where the bridges are.
Okay. All right. So, but so he went to Colgate and he was undrafted. And so he played 11 seasons for the Seattle Seahawks. He made 2 Pro Bowl teams. He led the NFL in interceptions in 1993. And then he went to the Green Bay Packers. He played there for 2 years and went to the Super Bowl 12 times and won one. Then he went to the Atlanta Falcons. He played there for 2 years. And so he's one of the few players that have been to 3 consecutive Super Bowls.
Oh, wow.
So this is a guy who, as I said, he was undrafted, but made himself into a quality pro. And a lot of people have forgotten that Eugene Robinson is one of the pillars of that organization. So I thought I would bring him up so people can remember him because he was a quality player, and I liked watching him play. I know that reveals my age probably more than my hair does, but so Eugene Robinson is number 1 on my number 41 list.
All right, Dustin, how about you? Do I have to break out the same button?
Oh, you definitely have to do the Homer alert.
There it is. Homer alert.
This is the worst kept secret in the show, probably. For anyone who's seen my various rants and everything else, you know where I'm going for this one. And Kevin, first off, hats off to you. The reason I did not pick Eugene Robinson is because he played for the Seahawks from 85 to 95, if I'm not mistaken. And I was not watching football at that time. I did not start watching the Seahawks until the 98 season. So because my dad didn't really have a football team growing up. So I didn't like, watch with him or anything like that. I got into football late. But we all know where I'm going for my number 41. There's a statue of him outside of American Airlines Arena. Dirk Nowitzki, come on. One of the greatest German exports known to man. I personally would put him, and he is, if memory serves, he is on the top 50 players of all time from Bill Simmons' book of basketball. He's on the list. Bill Simmons breaks down, I think, the top 100 players of all time. Dirk cracks the top 50, if memory serves. I got to reread that book.
I would move him up way over top 50.
Yeah, it's a few years old now. I got to reread that book. I got to see. But Dirk, to me, he had a move. He had, we all talk about Jordan's, Jordan's patented shot, Kobe's patented shot. Oh, Ryan.
No, go ahead. Finish your thought. And I have the ranking. I did the real-time research.
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much. He had that step back shot that, because he was so tall, was impossible. He'd lean back. It was impossible to stop. He'd lean back on one foot. That there's logos, there's Swish 41 clothing with that on it. He is an institution in Dallas. I love the way that he carries himself, the way that he played. He was drafted in 1998. He retired in 2019. He always put the organization first. And most importantly, in my book, everybody always said, oh, Dirk doesn't play defense. Dirk doesn't play defense. He can't win the big one. He can't He can't win the big one. First of all, in today's NBA, if Dirk Nowitzki was drafted today, he would thrive, because defense is a dying art. Even the most ardent NBA fans would say that. So all the criticism that was leveled at Dirk, he was just he's one of the ambassadors, quote unquote, of the modern game, and he's one of the first big men that could shoot the three. He was a legitimate threat from three. He made almost 50% of his field goals. I think his career field goal percentage is about 47%. He averaged 20 points a game. That's his career average. Dirk was a scoring machine, and most importantly for me, in that crazy 2011 season where Jason Terry was crazy enough to get the Larry O'Brien trophy tattooed on him before the season started. Insane by the Jet, okay? But Dirk and the Mavericks, that special team, beat the Miami Heat with the three-headed monster of Wade, Bosh, and LeBron. And the Mavericks were underdogs. Dirk was transcendent in that series. He won the MVP, and I believe it was 2005, 2006 season. He was unbelievable for the Mavs then, but unfortunately they lost against the Heat the first time when they faced them. Ironic that the Mavs have gone to the finals 3 times, and two out of 3 times they faced the Miami Heat. But I can't say, I know I'm shortchanging Dirk. He was a many-time All-Star. He was steady in Dallas. You could always count on Dirk. He was always going to give you his best, his work ethic, his practicing of his shots and everything. Dirk Nowitzki is my favorite 41. He was instant. I talk about it being easy to figure out who to pick for these. Number 41 and number 42, frankly, are fish in a barrel for me. And I think Ryan and I are going to have a discussion about number 42, because I think we're both going the same way. But Dirk Nowitzki all day. Dirk, you're one of my favorite players of all time, period. Dirk Nowitzki.
Okay. So 47.1% field goal percentage.
Okay, 47. Thank you.
Don't forget the 0.1. All right.
I won't.
I did the research for in the original book, the Book of Basketball by Bill Simmons. Dirk Nowitzki is ranked 17th.
17th, okay.
However, the Ringer states that he moved up in the 2020 edition of the book.
Okay.
I don't know. They didn't say what ranking he was, but he was moved up.
I knew he cracked the top 50. I just couldn't remember where. It's been a long time since I read the book.
The original version 17th, and in the 2020 edition, I didn't say. Gemini didn't give me that indication.
Okay,
of where he was in the 2020 edition. But yeah, I mean, Dirk Nowitzki is also important for the national team for Germany, because he was the one who kind of stepped out into the light and like basically drug the German national team into relevancy, because now you got German-born players or American-born players of German nationality, German descent, playing for Germany. Schroeder from
Dennis
Brooklyn Nets, Dennis Schroeder, Isaiah Hartenstein. He's American-born, but he plays for Germany. He plays on the German national team. He's one of the key contributors for the Oklahoma City Thunder this year, and was part of the Knicks team. A couple that got started to rise in the ranks. We talked about that situation on Tuesday. I'm going to go quickly for my number 41. To be honest, I couldn't really think of one off the top of my head, because a lot of players who wore number 41, I didn't really see growing up.
Yeah,
or see that kind of. I mean, the only one that really came to mind was Josh. Was it Josh Offbelt from who played for the Giants, but he retired to Ben Affelt. Played for the San Francisco Giants. I think he retired to take part in the anti-human trafficking movement. He was a good guy off the field. But I'm going to go with the modern player in a league you might not, that I pay attention to. Current favorite player, Roland Milligan from Saskatchewan. My co-host on Total Football Talk Extra, D. Willie. His Saskatchewan Roughriders.
That's the team he supports.
That's the team he supports because of the name. Because of the name. But there's a player on that team. His name is Roland Milligan. He plays defensive back from the University of Toledo by way of UAB. Initially was signed by the Cowboys and as a free agent. Played for the Lions, played for the Colts. Then joined Saskatchewan Roughriders as a free agent, and he's been a force in that backfield, defensive backfield, ever since. And he was leading. I believe in 2024, he led the league, the Canadian Football League, in interceptions, and helped the Rough Riders get to the West Final before they were beat by the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. But I just look at the highlights. Roland Milligan is a special player in that backfield. He's part of that defense that head coach Corey Mace has put together. But if you're looking for if you're a football fan, just kind of looking for an in-between league between the UFL, because I know there's people who love the UFL. I'm personally not a big fan until they bring back the New Jersey Generals. But I've been a big Canadian Football League fan for many a year, going back to Doug Flutie. Doug Flutie was my gateway drug to the CFL, and I've been paying attention ever since. My favorite team is the Montreal Alouettes, who were the remnants of the last relevant American-based CFL team from the mid-90s, the Baltimore Stallions, who won the Grey Cup in 1995. That 30-year anniversary is coming up pretty soon. But after the United States expansion failed, the Stallions wanted to remain in the CFL, but the Browns, thanks Art Modell, moved the Browns to Baltimore, and that kind of made the Stallions rethink things, and they said, you know what, let's go to Montreal, let's rebrand as the Alouettes, and they've been the team I've followed ever since. But I love that league, and Roland Milligan is one of my favorite players to watch in the league as a defensive player, so I'm going to go with him as my favorite number 41.
All right, great
There we
pick.
go.
Great pick. And as I understand it from a clip I saw last night, I think a friend of the show, D. Willie, picked your Alouettes to triumph in the Week 1 matchup here.
And I picked the Toronto Argonauts. That was a dumb pick because I wasn't sure which Nick Arbuckle we're going to get, but we basically got dollar store edition of Nick Arbuckle. Sorry, Nick.
I wonder
Alouettes. That's my team.
I wonder if Nick is related to John Arbuckle, aka
Garfield's owner.
Yes.
Or Patty Arbuckle, the comedic actor from.
Sorry, I had to do it.
Pictures.
I'm sure that Garfield would like some baked beans.
Oh yeah.
Nah, I think he's more of a lasagna guy.
Well, he's a lasagna, of course, but we could sprinkle in some few side items with him, I'm sure.
Of course.
Oh yeah, he wasn't picky.
All right, we're going to get out of here. But before we get out of here, we got to let our boy of summer plug his stuff. Kevin, where can people find you?
Okay, so sometime this weekend, I will have my fantasy baseball weekly MVP series will be posted. So look for that on the Belly Up YouTube page. And I'll be throwing it around out there. But so we have that and have articles, of course, on the Belly Up website. And I was just informed by Vince that because normally we do our baseball show on Sunday nights, but we're going to do it Monday, 8:30 Central. He's got a special guest, which I have no idea who that is at this point. But if you're into baseball, you will certainly want to tune into that. And also on Tuesdays, this past Tuesday, we launched our Belly Up Fantasy Live football show. We are concentrating on Dynasty at the present time. And last, we talked about studs and duds of rookie running backs among many other points. And I'm sure we talked about the Steelers a little bit, but that's been kicked up a notch now. We'll be talking about that, I'm sure, this next Tuesday. So there you can find me. Also on X, we're not calling it X. I remember that.
No, we're calling it Twitter.
We're calling it Twitter at Kevin62WILSEA.
All right. And I got to make a technicality here because when Roland Milligan, and he currently wears number 0, but when he entered the league, he wore number 41 for a couple seasons before he switched to 0. But
okay.
An honorable mention, Tom Seaver,
There you
New
go.
York Met pitcher, 300 win guy who has 300 wins in the Hall of Fame. We lost
Which
him.
we'll never see again in baseball, by the way.
No,
Yeah,
with the
300
6-man
wins,
rotation.
Well, we're lucky if we see 200 win.
250. I bet. But we're going to get out of here. We're going to try to enjoy our day, even though it's raining up here in upstate New York. But before we do that, just want to let the people know to follow us on social media, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube. Just do a search for No Credentials Required. And also check out other podcasts and articles like the ones Kevin has on bellyupsports.com. Subscribe to the podcast wherever you find podcasts, including Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Spreaker, Amazon Music, iHeart, TuneIn, and Pandora, and also on our YouTube channel. And also don't forget to hit that notification bell on Twitter and on YouTube. That way you get notified about live shows, you get notified about show announcements, you get notified about show clips, all that stuff. Hit that notification bell. Also, tell a friend about the show. We actually eclipsed the 3,500 download mark this week.
Yes.
So we're really happy thank you again to our podcast subscribers and to our listeners. Again, tell a friend, spread the word. We'd love to keep this audience growing and keep our legion of cred heads going as well. But that's going to do it for this edition of No Credentials Required, where you don't need to press pass to talk sports. We are proudly presented by Belly Up Sports. Don't forget on Tuesday, we'll be reviewing Mystery Alaska in lieu of Youngblood, because for some reason Youngblood's not on streaming, but Mystery Alaska is. So watch it, review it with us on Tuesday, 6:30 p.m. Eastern. For Kevin Wilson, for Dustin Henry, I'm Ryan McCarthy. Have a great Saturday. We'll talk to you again. Have a great weekend, actually. And we'll talk to you again on Tuesday night for another edition of No Ticket Required. Again, we were reviewing Mystery Alaska. So take care, everybody. Have a great weekend.
I'm going to go make some checks, Mix. If you know where to find a Nintendo Switch, holler at your boy at LDusto67 on Twitter and Instagram. Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
Have a great weekend.